It's a big weekend for professional wrestling. That's right. Prairie Pro Wrestling and Rushomania took place this weekend. Open it up for the Rush game. We're going to talk all about that. We got updates from the NHL playoffs. We got NFL updates for you, English Premier League updates, and all the good talk here on Point of View from the Week in Sports. I'm Bobby Munson, the man sitting beside me. He is Andre 2/3 Fluffy C. Andre, how are you doing, brother?
I am doing absolutely phenomenal. I was expecting to be at work tomorrow, Monday, but I don't have to now because my new scheduling starts this week, and I have every second Monday off. And it would be the second Monday in my work week in my work schedule. They've made it the first one this time, so I'm down. Let's go. I have tomorrow off, so I'm happy. I'm peppy. I'm great.
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yes. And as I said, it is a big weekend for wrestling fans. Lots of content to consume all over the place. Lots of indies running because it is WrestleMania weekend. We're not going to dwell on WrestleMania stuff. You got lots of great podcasts out there that if you want to get your fix of WrestleMania conversation, you can get yourself out there and find all sorts of great people discussing all things WrestleMania. But what we are going to discuss, Andre, is a crossover that happened that I got to be a part of. In fact, it was the Saskatchewan Rush from the National Lacrosse team, National Lacrosse League, mind you, playing their last regular season home game last night. If they were to win, they would secure a spot as the hosts of the first playoff game. So a win was going to be necessary for them. But it was Rushomania. This was what they called the event. This is why they had PPW there. They wanted us to perform a couple of matches before the game started. And then, of course, a match at intermission time. And so I got there yesterday morning to the SaskTel Centre, the arena here in Saskatoon, just after 11 in the morning to help with unloading the ring, getting the ring set up. There was a specific area that we had to have the ring set up at that had been marked off for us. So we had to follow within those guidelines of where that was. We were treated very well. We were given our own kind of like sectioned off sort of locker room in the backstage area, flats of water that were put in a refrigerator there for us to drink throughout the day. But it was a very different experience, to say the least, for compared to what we normally do. I mean, I've talked about how I do these PPW shows. I go early, I set up chairs, I do all this. This time, of course, it was setting up the ring because I didn't have chairs to set up. But then it was production meetings, man. Something that I haven't had to do in Prairie Pro Wrestling or in wrestling in general ever, because the way it works, especially with the National Lacrosse League, is they have certain guidelines. And one of those guidelines is that during pregame, before they go live with the actual game, there is a certain time frame in between the teams being allowed to come out and practice that nothing is necessarily happening. This is a 10-minute spot, a hard set 10-minute spot that they had. So we had 2 matches booked. Each match was allotted 5 minutes, and this includes entrances. So we had to go with production, tell them what the plan was, go through it. We had the wrestlers go through it with them, and then we had to do a second dry run with their camera operators well before we went live as well, too, to make sure that the camera operators knew where to be and all this kind of stuff. It was unique, to say the least, to know that this was being done for television purposes. And as they bring their camera operators into the fold, I go look, and of course the giant video screen in the middle of the arena, I look up and there's our guys. There's Prairie Pro Wrestling guys up on that big screen. And I'm looking around this arena going, this is incredible. This is neat. Like, you could tell the nerves were setting in for some of the guys. Is that a lot of them, especially the young ones, first time that they've been in front of a large crowd like this for any reason at all, kind of thing. But they did fantastic. It was so good. We saw the in-ring debut of one Rico Sparks at this show. He took on Morris Waltz. I'll tell you more about Rico Sparks after the show there, Andre. Rico Sparks took on Morris Waltz and picked up his very first victory in Prairie Pro Wrestling. The second match saw Bucky McGraw take on Soup Nasty. Soup Nasty gets his 4th victory in a row, beating the wrestling smartest man. He's on a roll, to say the least, in Prairie Pro Wrestling. Bucky was the only one to hold a defeat over Soup Nasty in Soup's very first matchup. And Soup inevitably got his revenge last night, picking up a victory over Bucky McGraw. And then we had to go and we watched the first half of the Rush game. So I'm watching this game. The Rush go up early 1-0 in the first 30 seconds of this matchup. I'm like, okay, it's going to be one of those nights. We're going to have some fun. The energy of the PPW Nation, of the Rush Nation coming together under one building. They're going to drive the victory for the Rush over the cross line so that the Rush can host their NLL playoff game at the SaskTel Centre. So the energy was high, but then Toronto bounced back. They bounced back so hard that by the time we got to intermission for us to perform, the game was sitting at 5-2 for Toronto. And for those who aren't aware of what the end result is, stay tuned for just a few more minutes, and we'll get to that. So we get to intermission time. It is time for Prairie Pro Wrestling to hit our main event. And in our main event, we have got Bruiser, the Bulldog, teaming up with the Brotherhood, consisting of Jacob Creed and the Dixie Dragon this time, to take on the team of Rowdy, the Rush mascot, along with Riley Cruz and Soup Nasty. Yes, they were cruising for Soup last night at Prairie Pro Wrestling. Soup getting double the matches in last night. And could he keep that victory going now? I know it's not singles victory, but could he get another victory under his belt? And the answer is yes, because after chaos ensued and bodies were thrown to the outside and people were leaping off each other, we were left with just Rowdy and Bruiser left in the middle of the ring. And a hockey-style fight breaks out between the two mascots. Rowdy gets the advantage. He finally gives the "you can't see me" and the five-knuckle shuffle. He goes to the top ropes, drops a Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop from the top to Bruiser, covers him 1, 2, 3. The entire arena of about, I'd say it had to be around 888 to 8,500 people that were in this arena, all just cheering, screaming, having the time of their life, loving every second of it. So cool to do. Now, back onto the Rush game. We're down 5-2 going into the second half. This is not looking good for the Rush. It's been a rough start, but that energy, it came back. They started to feel what all those baby faces felt in those matches. This energy that the PPW Nation brings to the arenas, and it worked, because not only did the Rush drive themselves back into the game, they brought it to a tie, 9-9 by the end of regular time, went into overtime, and end up in sudden death, scoring that 10th goal for a 10-9 victory, bringing the first playoff game of the NLL right back to Saskatoon, right back to the SaskTel Centre. Go Rush, go! Bring home the title. Oh my God, what an experience last night was, Andre. I'm over the moon right now.
That's awesome, man. I can only imagine what you're feeling right now after an event like that, because to perform in that front, like I've been to I was at the first LPW Oil Rumble in front of the Oil Kings that LPW did, and I was again, I've never worked the event. Hopefully next year, now I'm working with the company, I'll get to be involved in the event next year. Obviously, I'm ringing out, so that's Spencer's job. But I hope I get to be involved in the event. But like, dude, just the place went crazy for it. So like, just imagine what they were going crazy for the wrestling in a town where there's no professional sports or real professional sports outside of the Rush, getting to see something different. So maybe you're drawn in, maybe it's new fans are trying to get into your shows next time because they didn't know wrestling was in town. And that's a huge thing. Like,
yeah. And for me, like, it's not even about like, so the types of people that were at the Rush game aren't necessarily ones that are definitely going to go to a PPW regular show, right? Like, we're not delusional to think that we're going to have lineups of 8,000 people wanting to get into PPW events or anything like that. But what it does help with is social media engagement, potential eyes on our YouTube channel as well too, right? Like, these are the types of people who, when I go to release WrestleMania in its entirety next Saturday on the YouTube channel, might tune into that one event on our channel because they were there. They were at that one and they want to see what it looked like even up close. So those are cool things. It helps to boost Prairie Pro Wrestling. It helps with community as well too. Like, that's the other crazy thing. And everything about it and is just awesome. Like, we had the great time with the Saskatoon Berries over last summer. Now with the Rush, the Berries, I believe we're working on doing another event this summer with them as well too. They're all kind of interconnected. Don't get me wrong. It's the
I
same
gotta get
people.
the Blades.
Well, that's the thing. I believe the Blades have reached out already about potentially having done a spot or two. It probably won't happen until next season.
It'll be next season, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is like the Blades, the Rush, and the Berries are kind of interconnected in terms of like ownership and people behind the scenes working for them. So it kind of goes hand in hand. So it would be really cool to also get that opportunity and be able to say that we've also done some stuff with the Blades. And I'm not talking just necessarily like what we did at the Rush game, because the Rush has had PPW there a couple of times previously for spots in the crowd, for fun spots in the crowd. They've had Morris Waltz get driven through a table at a event before. They had it was Richard from our crew that does a lot of great stuff for us, dressed as a piece of bacon recently, get kicked and knocked around and stuff like that. And there's a story behind this too, because like Cora Breakfast, you know what that place is, right? Cora, right? Yeah, Cora. You've heard of it? Okay.
I've been there.
So there is a ruling in Saskatoon or in Saskatchewan in general that if the Rush score 10 goals in a game, that Cora will give you a free side of bacon with your breakfast purchase.
Oh, so much bacon this morning.
So, yeah. So like there's tons of signs throughout the audience saying we want bacon or whatever. People come dressed as bacon. I was like, this is mind blowing. Like, Rush fans started to remind me of wrestling fans in every way, shape, or form. They were dressed up. We had guys that were dressed up with the old Legion of Doom shoulder pads and everything, but they had the green face paint on that night. There was one dude, he was dressed up in all the Rush green, and then he had this green hair that just poofed out all over the place. Like, these people get right into it, man. It is wild. They reminded me of wrestling fans. They're loud, they're obnoxious, they're having the time of their lives. Like, it's good. That's the one thing I can say about Saskatchewan people is we are really passionate about the things that we do have here. We might not have a lot of pro teams here, but the stuff we have, we get right behind it, and we show up for it, kind of thing. Doesn't matter if we're the best or the worst, we still show up for it every time. So it was awesome to see. It was a great energy. I had a blast. It was a cool experience, and I hope we get to do it again. That's simple way of putting it. I hope we get to do it again.
Yeah, it's great. That's actually that's awesome, man. Like I can only imagine what being part of that was like. From the production side, from being involved, and that's awesome, man. I'm so glad you guys get to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like I said,
you guys weren't on the field itself. I'm guessing you were at like one of the ends or something.
Yeah, right at one of the ends.
It's the same thing that LPW does. I know. Years ago, PPW, when it was around, they did a thing in Calgary at the Saddle Dome, but they were actually on the ice, but it was post game. They did like a few matches after the game. So they brought the ring out onto the ice and built it on the ice quickly and then got wrestling going. So, boy, like I like the way LPW and you guys do that you have the ring set up to one end so you can do it during intermission, do it before the show. So you can kind of, that's I think a way better setup.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. I thought it was fun, and yeah, like you said, LPW has done this a few times now, I think, for the Oil Kings, and so it's a very similar type of experience for that. And it's great for Western Canadian professional wrestling as well too, because it's more eyes on the wrestlers that we have around here. You know, we got to put out a lot of our Academy of graduates, some of which who, I call them Academy of graduates, but they're long since graduated. They're more like Academy alumni by now, in terms of like Riley Cruz and Morris Waltz. I mean, I would consider them alumni at this point. Yeah, Soup still he's still new. I mean, he only really made his official debut in the summer for us, so he is still a little bit of it on the graduate side. So he's making waves though. He's making waves. Oh, he is. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And Rico Sparks as well too, man. Like making his debut last night, and we'll talk. I'll talk to you more about that when we go off the air because I got to break the fourth wall in order to discuss it. So
we won't do that on here.
That's right. Yeah, we won't do that on here. But moving on from the wrestling side of things, Andre, let's start with one of your pieces of news before I go into the footy talk today.
Dexter, are we talking NFL?
We can go NFL, NHL, whichever you prefer.
Let's do NFL. Let's do NFL right now because it's the smallest piece of my puzzle. Dexter Lawrence has been traded from the New York Giants to the Cincinnati Bengals, which to me is like, oh my God, the Bengals are actually doing something for their defense, because this is a team that whose defense has very much sucked. Their wins are very much relied on their offense with Joe Burrow and his lack of passing options. But like, they actually have, and I think the Giants are making out like bandits here, getting the 10th overall pick in this year's draft. That is next weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Next weekend is the NFL draft. I'm going to miss the first round because I'm going to be ring announcing at a show / hosting a Marvel Talk all at the same time. I'm going to jump in, co-host a Marvel Talk for a little bit, and then go ring announce the show all in one night while the draft is happening, which is like, I want to watch the draft, but it is what it is. But yeah, huge news because this sets it's great for the Bengals because Dexter is a former Pro Bowler, absolutely phenomenal. 28 years, he's getting a little old for being a defensive player, but he's probably got another 2-3 years of good playing in him, I would say. So the Bengals are getting a good piece to help them build for their future, and the Giants are getting a huge piece in building for their future. So it's a win. I think this is a very much a win-win trade. I think the Giants do end up on the better end of this because they're going to get 2 top 10 picks this year with their 5th and their 10th round picks. And then I pulled up a mock draft. Just want to talk about the draft itself because we're coming into the draft next weekend. I'm going to be talking about the results next weekend. So again, the first overall pick is going to be Fernando Mendoza. I think everybody expects it. He's the top prospect this year, and he's going to the Raiders, where they're going to build around this kid to be their future. And then I want to talk about the 3rd overall pick, which is my Arizona Cardinals. They're projected. This is all projections due to NFL mock draft database. David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. Again, we need a lot of work on the defense. So an edge rusher out of Texas, I think, is very, very good pick there. Number 4 pick, Jeremiah Love going to Tennessee Titans. Very much a possibility for this for Titans because they really need to build up their backfield. That is a weakness for them. Speaking of the Giants, going to get number 5, projected Sonny Styles, in number 10, projected Caleb Downs. Again, all this can change. And then your Washington Redskins projected first pick.
Whoa! I think you got that name wrong, sir.
You're Washington Commanders. I apologize. I don't know why I went old school with that. I do not know why my brain broke and went old school with that. Your Washington Commanders, looking the projection right now is wide receiver Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. So that's another offensive weapon for Jaden Daniels, who needs it because they've lost a couple pieces on their offensive line on that. They've lost a couple pieces in the offseason. So that's a great. That would be a very smart draft pick for them. And then Ed's Patriots, supposedly some dude named Max Ehanker. I don't know. I can't say the name. That's how bad it is because I can't even say the dude's name.
He'll fit right in.
Yeah, we don't want to say that name anyway. So why would we want to say it for them? We don't want to say the Patriots, so we don't want to say his name.
Yeah. You work for the Pats. We don't need to learn your name.
Yeah, it's true. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you're part of the Pats.
See, and Ed's in church. He can't even be here to argue with us about it anyway, so it's all good. We just take our jabs one after another. Take that, Ed.
True, Ed.
Yeah. All right.
I always find it funny because it's 11:20 in his time right now, right? Yeah. I always remember as a kid going to church at like 9 in the morning, not 11 in the morning.
It depends what church and where you go. Like, I know the same thing. Like, yeah, I'm not a church guy or anything like that. In fact, I would probably light on flames if I stepped in a church these days. But when I was a kid, I had a friend that was a church guy, and his whole family were. His dad was a preacher. So I made my own personal choice because my family allowed that to go to church at that time and everything. So their church would start early. So if it was a Sunday morning, we were usually there by like say 9 in the morning, like you're talking about. But there was also other churches like even in town where we are that start at 11 or noon, even for that matter, kind of thing. So it really depends on the church, what their ruling is and everything like that. I know one right around the corner from us in town here. Like if I go anywhere around lunchtime, that whole church parking lot and then some is packed with vehicles every
I could
week.
see that for more family oriented things, a little bit later in the morning is a good thing because children are less rowdy and stuff. Because you can get them some sleep instead of getting up super early to go to church. Because like I remember going to church and like there was a French mass afterwards at like 10:30. So like I understand it because they did a French language one, and then they did one on like Saturday nights. They did like a Saturday one that beforehand for every weekend, but I don't remember there being a later one. I could be wrong, but
you never know. I don't know enough about church nowadays to really know for sure. That's all I could say.
I haven't been to one in years.
In fact, my church is just right here on stream. You can catch Reverend Bob every Sunday at 11 a.m.
The church of sports and pro wrestling. You know,
there you go. Yeah. So, speaking of those sports, Andre, I want to talk a little bit about the other type of football, footy as we call it, over in the UK. The English Premier League is now getting very, very close to the end of the season. I believe that most teams have about 6 games left each. It was stated after having a blunder on Monday night and losing their matchup that Manchester United were in trouble. They still needed, I believe, 3 victories, or they needed at least 3 victories to guarantee Champions League going forward. And after losing to Leeds 2-1, also getting a red card for Lisandro Martinez and finding out that we also still have a ban on Harry Maguire after his recent red card, there was a lot of people going, oh shit, what are we going to do about this situation? Because we are in some trouble, especially defensively. And yesterday in the defense, Mazraoui, who usually works as a right back for us, slotted in the center back along with young Aiden Heaven in the defense, stepping up to the plate. Delo and Shaw taking up the other spots. And then it was our typical lineup. Otherwise, this time with Cunha and Mbeumo taking up the wings, Bruno in the center of attack with Sesko up front. We ended up taking on Chelsea and winning 1-0. So Manchester United securing the 3 points yesterday against Chelsea, continuing to stay in third place in the division and one step closer to the potential Champions League spot. There right now, as it stands, 5 potential Champions League spots are available. There is a bit of a battle in that section between Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Manchester United. But as it stands, as of today, let's just go have a look because some games have just wrapped up, including Liverpool and Aston Villa. Liverpool pulled it off in the end, which keeps them within a 3-point race, and that was down to the wire there. Villa also winning, that keeps them drawn even with Manchester United, which is kind of wild. So,
I do have a question because I was reading stuff after we got off last week. You were talking about getting into European football and you're like playing your European football, in the Champions League. I want to say not Champions League. English Premier League,
not the championship, but
championships. You're playing in the championship. The Champions League is what's in England, right?
Yeah. So the Champions League, the championship is in England. That's the division below the Premier League.
That's where Wrexham is right now. And then the Champions League is what's played.
It's Europe.
European. Okay. So I was reading about it. So as I read it, and I may not understand this completely, the top 5 teams in the EPL get to go play Champions League football.
Now, it sometimes is only 4, and I forget how the rule works. I'd have to look it up, and somebody who might be watching on replay could probably correct me in the chat. Let me know.
I would love to learn.
It depends on the positioning and the way that the English teams play in Champions football across, the Champions League, Europa, these different divisions that exist, depending on those positions, as well as just in general, the way the English Premier League table goes, that determines whether it's 4 spots or 5 spots. So that can fluctuate. And when it becomes 5 spots, it means that it does open up a little bit extra for Europa, because then it opens up the Europa League, which the Europa League is like the championship, how the championship is to the Premier League, the Europa League is to the Champions League in terms of European play. So if you don't make Champions League, but you make Europa, you're still in Europe, but you're playing against the teams that didn't quite qualify for the big one. So you've got right now a 6th place spot, which is guaranteed to be into the group stages of the Europa League. And you have the 7th place spot, which then would put the 7th place finish in the Premier League this year into a Europa Conference League qualifier. So basically you would play other teams to try to qualify to get a group stage spot in the Europa League. So right now, Brentford sitting in that spot in 7th on 48 points, but keeping in mind that just below them, Bournemouth is tied on 48, Brighton 47, Everton 47. So there's teams that can still catch. You also have
Chelsea and Brentford who are in that Europa League / Conference League are 48 and 48. So
yes, but so Bournemouth are too. They're only behind because of the point differential. Right? So
I was going to say Brighton, Hove Albion, Everton are both at 47, Sunderland at 46, and Fulham at 45. That's all people within, like, could really upset that factor there.
Yeah. Now, Palace and Newcastle on 42 could, if all things lined up perfectly in terms of they don't lose a single match and those other teams do very poorly.
Lose a bunch?
Yeah. So it's kind of like the situation. Right? Yeah, it's like the situation with United. We probably will get Champions League. It would take a lot to really screw it up at this point, considering that the 6th place spot, Chelsea, is 10 points back on us. So for that to happen with only like 6 games left, we pretty much have to lose all those games or draw all those games. And then Chelsea have to go on a dynamic winning streak that they haven't been on in order to secure that spot. So it's safe to say Champions League is probably secured, but anything can happen in footy, so it's not worth holding your breath over, because people have dropped points poorly before. Now, there is one guarantee, and that is that Man United won't get higher than a 3rd place finish pretty much. That would be damn near impossible, with Man City sitting in 2nd, basically with a game in hand to Arsenal right now. If they were to win that game, they would be 3 points back of Arsenal. And with a 3-point race, considering that they play each other today, if Man City beats Arsenal today, Man City is in the title picture. And it's going to come down to the wire between Man City and Arsenal to win that championship this year. So all over the place, there is a lot of battles going on, including the relegation battle. As the one other one we talked about recently about Tottenham dropping into the relegation zone.
Yeah.
And they're still there.
I'm still scared.
On 31 points. Well,
I'm still scared. That's the problem. I'm still scared for my trees.
Well, they not only pulled themselves out of relegation, they also won today.
Yes.
So that win
4-1, baby.
Yeah, and that win puts them on 36 points now. Like, they are 5 points clear of Tottenham, who are in 18th place. West Ham, who have a game in hand still, could pull themselves to 35 points, but keeps them still in behind Forest at this point. I mean, arguably, Forest could still land a 15th place finish in the end, which, considering the start of their season, it is probably the best they could have hoped for, right? I mean, they were struggling at the start.
Like, I was scared because I foolishly picked the trees to win it all, but at least they're not getting relegated at the moment. At the moment,
and there's a good chance you won't. But here's the thing: your pick of them is going to hurt you on the points at the end of the season. But there's a lot of crazy spots on here that were like nowhere near what myself or you picked at times. So there's going to be so much fluctuation on this table. In fact, I'm pretty sure I put Man United in like 6th or 7th and said that would be an improvement. And now they're going to cost me
I
points
put them
because
on.
those sons of bitches actually pulled it off and got further up the table than that. Like, yeah.
I think I put them on 4th or 5th. I think I put them right in around the spot they're in right now. I had faith in your team, bro. I
You
had faith in
did.
your
You
boys.
had more faith in them than I did this year. So you're going to end up probably doing better on the points wise for a Man United than what I would. But then you go look at the situation. I had Liverpool winning the league again this year, and they're struggling in 5th place at the moment. I had Chelsea in the top 4. They're definitely not cracking that top 4 this season by the looks of it. So there's a lot of fluctuation in the table that was very unexpected this season, and we'll see how it winds up, because we've only got a matter of a short period of time, 6 more games, only a matter of weeks left before we're going to be calculating those points to decide which one of the two of us picked up the victory in the predictions. Don't count on it, man. Don't count on it. You'd be surprised. Somebody last year.
Then again, yeah, somebody last year kind of thought one thing and then it went the other way. So yeah, it's very possible it's going to be completely other direction.
Exactly. You never know for sure.
Then I got to start researching for the picks come the summertime when we maybe make these picks again in the summer. So,
well, I'll give you a little bit of hint going into next year's picks. Look at who the teams have picked up in the summer for their players. Look at whether or not they have European footy. So just because Manchester United are possibly getting into the Champions League, if we don't secure the right players going into next year, and we're already struggling when we only play 1 game a week right now, we are all kinds of fucked going into next year if we have to play extra games. That's the difference maker right there. Not only that, is Michael Carrick the right guy to coach us in the Champions League? Probably not. He's not experienced enough. He's not good enough yet. Not saying he won't ever be the right guy, but he's not the right guy currently.
You may be in those words next year. You would be like, Michael Carrick is a genius. You might end up saying that if he does well for you in Champions League.
I fucking hope so, man. Like I'd rather eat my words on that than be right about it. But let's take Newcastle for an example. Newcastle made Champions League. Newcastle had to play the extra games. Newcastle should have been able to spend on the right players in order to secure things that this year. Nope. Didn't work for them. They lost players, they dropped points, and now they're struggling below the mid-table. So it can really hurt you. It can be a detriment. Tottenham did poorly in the season last year, but they won the Europa League, which by winning the Europa League guaranteed them Champions League. Now they might get relegated. Right. So again, like, Champions League is not always yes, financially it's great to make the Champions League, but it can also be very detrimental if you're not prepared. And the United team as it stands right now, we ain't prepared. We are not prepared in the slightest. We are going to get our asses handed to us by teams in the Champions League. If we have to come up against the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the PSGs, the Inter Milans, the AC Milans, any of these teams of the world right now, we are going to get thrashed. Like, we're going to get thrashed badly. If we can't beat fucking Leeds in a game, regular season, what do we expect is going to happen when we put the greatest players in the world today on the pitch against us? They're going to eat us for breakfast is what's going to happen. That's the scary part. And if we don't get and not only that, we're losing Casemiro, who has experience in the middle of the park, and we have nobody. We're already losing out on the targets. The ones we wanted are planning to go to other teams. And then the ones we were like, well, we don't want to spend on that guy, we're going to pass up the opportunity to sign a solid midfield player because they didn't want to spend a certain amount on him. And then we're going to get someone like Carlos Baleba, who had one good season and he's young, and now he's having a terrible season this year. So we're going to get a slightly cut price on Carlos Baleba, who may or may not do okay for us next season. We don't know. But what he doesn't have is experience because he's young. He's a kid still. We need some experience. Tonali from Newcastle will be a perfect buy for us, but they don't want to spend the money on him because he's 26 years old. And they have this policy about buying people that are 26 or older right now. They don't want to do it. They don't want to invest big money into it. But we need him. We need experience in the middle of the park. Tonali would be a great fit for Manchester United, and he's league proven. Wharton's probably not going to happen. We're not going to get him. There's all these other players that we were like, yeah, we're going to go after this guy. We're going to go after this guy. And they've already said, no, I'm going to go to Man City. No, I'm probably going to go to Liverpool. No, I'm going. They don't want to come to Man United because they know we're a fucking mess. That's the thing. They know we're a mess. And as good as what we're sitting in the league right now, they know that they have seen it in the past. Man United get on this little high rise. We saw it when we had Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer as the manager. He comes in, the players like, yay, we love Ollie. He's so nice to us. He makes us a cup of tea in the morning, makes our breakfast for us, lets us go home early. What a great fucking good dude. And then all of a sudden, we go out there and we play really well for a bit, and we go up the table, and we get Champions League football, and everyone's like, woo, always behind the wheel, just like they're saying Carrick's behind the wheel. And then what happens? The players decide, maybe I don't like this guy so much anymore. And suddenly we collapse again, and then we fire managers, and we spend money on firing managers, and the team turns into complete mess because no players on the team ever want to listen to the goddamn manager. And that is always the issue. There, and there's all these people out there right now. The players should have a say in who the manager is. No, you're fucking paid to play footy. You're paid to go out on that pitch. You're paid to listen to your goddamn manager, and you're paid a lot of goddamn money. So go out on that pitch, listen to your fucking manager, and do your fucking job. It is not your say in who manages the team. It's your say on whether or not you play for that badge, you play at Old Trafford, and you do your damn job properly. And if you're not going to, get your ass out the door and go play for somebody else, because I'm tired of whiny ass bitch players dragging this club down further than it's ever been dragged before. Now, am I excited that we're getting Champions League? Yes. Am I worried? Obviously. So we'll see what happens. My fingers are crossed. I still support Man United no matter what, but stop the bitching and start playing. That's my advice.
100%. 100%.
So, hockey?
Before we get there, you want to speak a little bit of F1
Sure.
Behind the scenes news. Right now, McLaren's team principal, who's been absolutely phenomenal, taking them to constructor championships and helping Lando Norris win a drivers championship last year. Their name is Andrea Stella. But there's a bunch of rumors by 2028. It's so hard to say some of these guys' names. Giampiero Lambiase. Red Bull's current head of racing. He's also Max Verstappen's race engineer. But by 2028, he will be working for McLaren. So there's so many rumors out there that he's supposed to be coming over as chief racing officer. So it does not displace Andrea Stella. But there's now a lot of rumors out there that Stella will end up leaving McLaren for Ferrari. So right now and then the rumors of Max Verstappen's unhappiness at Red Bull right now, even with Christian Horner out last year, that he's still not happy because of the car issues and other things. There's so much in these next 2 years to be so much upheaval in drivers. Again, nobody will switch before end of year, other maybe in the principal side, things like that. But drivers can't switch until the end, till the off season. But again, it's really cool to see there's the chance of this team principals make and chief engineers make a huge difference in drivers, because you look at last year, Lewis Hamilton did not have a good year last year, and the person in his ear, and they got him a new race engineer, and he is doing absolutely tremendous. He's already taken third place in one of the races this year. So those things, because they're the ones in these drivers' ears telling them what's going on with their cars from the diagnostic side of it, where people are in relation to in front and behind them, where they are compared to their team partners. And these people give so much information to these drivers. If the communication is not like that, it doesn't work. And you see that in Lewis Hamilton this year. Ferrari, he's the car is a big part of it, but just when they go listen in on the team radios, he seems far calmer, far more receptive to the person he's talking to now than last year. He was constantly arguing over the radio with people giving them instructions, because it was that first year they weren't gel. Whoever's his race engineer now is a big. The race engineers, things like that, make a huge difference. The team principals in how they put out their strategies on race day, who's getting the preferential treatment, all these things. those are huge things that you don't really think about unless you kind of learn about the behind the scenes of racing. And to see this upheaval in McLaren, in Red Bull, and possibly Ferrari is kind of crazy. Because Stella has had a great couple years, so they can take that anywhere they want, to any team they want. And the rumor is Ferrari, which could only improve the Ferrari team, which is absolutely tremendous. So,
huge news, definitely huge news. So, also, I wanted to mention before we talk hockey, and we'll finish on the hockey talk because it is big talk right now. Blue Jays continue to suck.
Yes.
Major League,
yes, they do.
Yes, they do. God damn, man.
God.
They are only doing worse, better than one other team right now, which is the Royals, and that's because the Royals has played and lost one extra game to the Blue Jays. But the Blue Jays, considering that they've been getting beat by the Diamondbacks throughout that entire series, if they lose today, they'll be right back tied as the worst team in the entire Major League Baseball with the Royals right now. Who would have thought that fall from grace would happen after making it all the way to the World Series and giving people false hope that they could bring it home like that? Man, they have struggled so far. And I know, again, we talked about it before, long way to go in the season. Anything could happen, but that is going to be quite the climb for the Blue Jays if they don't start something soon.
Well, 20 games into 162 game season. Again, there's a lot of, but like once you're like 50, 60 games in and you're sitting at the bottom of your division, to come back again, you say, oh, there's still another 100 games to play. Yeah, but every other team above you has 100 games to play. And if they're doing well, they're going to keep doing well. And that's the hard part. You need to establish, and like I love seeing the Rays on top of the AL East. That is awesome. Great for the Rays being on top of the AL East. That is the team. If you ever watched Moneyball back in the day with Brad Pitt? Yep. Yeah. So the Oakland Athletics are not a rich team. They're a team that they play money. Like they're very budget conscious. And the Tampa Bay Rays are the same thing. They are actually, I think, in that division, the Rays, the Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, and Blue Jays are the poorest team of the five, with the Orioles just above them. Right? That's a team that like develops a lot of they're very much about development. They're very much about bringing up guys from the minors and building guys because to save money and things like that. Because if you build a guy, you tend not to pay them as much, especially if they come out with footy. The guys that come out of your academy cost you far less than the guys you sign from another team. So again, the same with the Rays, bringing guys up, bring them through their developmental and bring them through Single A, Double A, Triple A ball. You're going to pay them less, and then those guys tend to. Sometimes those guys, even doing well, tend to sign for lower contracts, being that this is the team that brought them to the show. Some of these guys don't sign for the giant money because they want to. Sometimes you're kind of loyal to your team, which happens, but not all the time anymore. You used to see it a long time ago, but. So for them to be on top, even only 20 games into the season, it just makes me happy because they're technically ahead of the Yankees. They're 12-8 versus 12-9. So it just makes me happy to see because this is a team that, again, it's a penny pinching team, and to see them do well is always a great thing. And I know for my boy Adam from Remember the Game, he's a big fan of the Rays. He randomly bought. His story was he randomly bought a baseball game back in like 1999, 2000 somewhere, and then just really liked the Devil Rays logo because it was all neon and shit at the time. And he said, "That's my team," and they sucked, and they've sucked ever since. But it's his team. So when they do well, I'm happy. I'm always happy for them. So
yeah, well, sometimes you pick a team. Sometimes they're the worst, but you gotta be loyal. You gotta show that loyalty, right? And yeah, talking about. When you bring up people from your academy and stuff like that, not only do they cost less, but if they do sell at all to other teams, it's considered pure profit, right? Because you didn't tack on certain contracts and purchases and all these extra bells and whistles that you do when you buy someone, an established player from somewhere. So it is considered pure profit, which always helps, especially like in footy side with the financial fair play rules and stuff like that. There's always that sometimes desired to sell an academy player because of the pure profit that it brings for the club as well too. So interesting to see how the rest of the season pans out while we're at it too. And my fingers are crossed the Jays can turn it around, but they need to start doing something real fast. But let's because we've got not a whole ton of time left here with everybody today. Let's talk about those NHL playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs are now started. Baby. We got games today. We got games tomorrow. We got games every day, just about, Andre. But why don't you let people know what we've seen so far and what we can expect?
So I'm just going to quickly go over the standings from the end of the season, because last week we were talking about potential finishes, who could be in it, who could be out of it. The way the standings finished: Buffalo in the Atlantic Division, Buffalo number 1, Tampa Bay number 2, Montreal number 3. I was hoping for Montreal to be ahead of Tampa Bay there, but we lost out by we tied for points. They had the better record, so they were ahead of us. But I was hoping for the home game advantage against Tampa, but alas. My half was on the road today and at 3:45 my time. And then over the Metropolitan Division, you had Carolina taking the division, Pittsburgh in second, Philadelphia, huge rebound for that team who has had a very poor few seasons, especially Buffalo too, who's had a shit decade, who are on top of their division right now. Crazy. And then the wild card, you had Boston, and the third and a Canadian team. We actually saw a third Canadian team entering with the Ottawa Senators have entered the playoffs in the wild card area. And then over on the west side, you had Colorado in first, Dallas in second, and Minnesota in third. In the Central Division, over in Pacific, you had Vegas Golden Knights taking number 1. Yep, the Edmonton Oilers, who I'm closest to, live closest to, number 2. Anaheim Mighty Ducks number 3, and then you had the Utah Mammoth and the LA Kings in the wild card division. So. What that means, I'm going to my other screen. I have like 4 screens on my phone right now that I'm switching between. You have Colorado versus LA, Dallas versus Minnesota, Vegas versus Utah, Edmonton versus Anaheim. You have Buffalo versus Boston, Tampa Bay versus Montreal, Carolina versus Ottawa, and Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia in the Battle of Pennsylvania. Which is kind of awesome to see the Battle of Pennsylvania happen there. It's kind of cool, because there's not a lot of teams you get that from. So it kind of makes you happy to see that. But after okay, go ahead.
Oh no, I just said for sure. I was just agreeing. Sorry.
Yeah. After day 1 of the playoffs, yesterday, Saturday, you had the Hurricanes beating the Senators 2-0. Not surprising there. The Wild defeating the Stars 6-1.
That was crazy.
Huge. and that's an upset. That's an upset right there, technically.
Yeah.
And then you had the Flyers upsetting the Penguins 3-2. Go Philly right there, man. Nice to see. But today we have the LA Kings versus the Colorado Avalanche at 3 Eastern, 1 my time. My Canadians play at 3:45 this afternoon my time, when I'm going to be on the road to heading out to go see a wrestling show with some friends. Going to go watch Mania with some friends. I'm going to be on the road heading out to see that, but I'm going to turn it on my phone. I'm going to see this game, and I'll be watching it on the side of my phone all night long, all day, all afternoon long, until hopefully I as much as I want to wear this jersey out to the bar or out in public tonight, I can't. I don't want to get beat up because Edmonton people are a-holes. I love Edmonton. Don't get me wrong, but when you don't wear an Oilers, when you're wearing a different team's jersey in their city, some people are dicks, and I don't feel like getting shit thrown at me. I don't feel like getting punched. I don't feel like having issues with people. So I'm going to leave my jersey at home tonight, sadly, but I will be watching my team. I will be watching my team. It's simple as that. I will be watching my team. And then the Bruins face the Sabres tonight, and I'm hoping the Sabres have a good run. I really do. And then the Mammoth play the Golden Knights tonight also. But the Oilers don't play game 1 till Monday. What the shit?
Yeah, it's kind of odd because everybody else will have gone by that time. So,
and again, they're playing at home. Maybe there's some stuff at Rogers yesterday and today, and that's why they couldn't. But stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. I hate it when the game 1 is on the same day as like game 2s for all the teams they should have been playing with. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, it is kind of wild, but I mean, it is what it is.
The Wild are playing the Stars.
Good one. Yeah.
I'm
No,
an
I mean
idiot.
it's interesting to see, and it's interesting to see, like, is Edmonton's still, could they be done before those games too, right? Like, I mean, just because they start game one when everyone else starts game two, it really depends on the way the series go. Edmonton could wrap it up in 4 for all we know, and then other teams might go 7 games. So it's very interesting to see how this will all land, where it'll go, and who's going to end up on top, because we're going to have new NHL Stanley Cup winners this season. Because for the last 2 seasons, it's been the Panthers, and they're not in it this time. So that's the big news right there. No matter what, we're crowning a new Stanley Cup champion this year. So here's to find out who it is. I mean, for your case, I hope it's Montreal. I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight, so I just hope it's a Canadian team. So if it is Montreal, great. If it, it's not going to be the Senators, but if it was the Senators, I'd also say great. We just know that it's not going to be. I mean, the true hope for Canada outside of the Canadians is definitely Edmonton, who have been to that dance 2 years running now and just been beat by the Panthers. So who knows? But we'll see how it goes.
And the Oilers, a very similar team on paper, without Stuart Skinner this year. They traded him away. It's a very different team and play style this year. They're not the dominant factor that they were these last couple seasons. I feel like they clawed their way into second place. So I don't have the faith we did from last year. But again, so quickly before we go, it'll only take us a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Let's make our snap predictions. Colorado versus LA. Who wins the series?
With Colorado and LA, I'll go Colorado.
I'm going Colorado also.
Okay.
I need to write this down. Both received. All right. So Dallas versus Minnesota.
Well, after what we've seen already, I'm kind of tempted to go with the Wild on that one. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go with the Wild.
I'm gonna go Dallas on that one.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick different from there. All right, the other side of the Western Conference, Vegas versus Utah.
Probably Vegas.
You're gonna go Vegas. I'm gonna go Utah in this one. I know it's a wild pick. I'm gonna go Utah just because this is a new team, or very like a newer franchise. I like to see them do well, so I'm gonna go Utah here.
They do have a cool Zamboni.
Dude, isn't that the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah, it really is.
And then Edmonton versus Anaheim.
I'm going to go Edmonton.
Yeah. I kind of have to take it, being that I live right near it. But again, it's also a team that if Montreal Canadiens, the last Canadian team win the Stanley Cup in 1993. The only Canadian team I do not want to see win a Stanley Cup is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't like the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No worries there this season.
Even though Ottawa is a division rival, I'm fine with Ottawa winning it. I can't get mad at that. I just can't deal with the Leafs. I'm fine with. I support Edmonton getting to the Stanley Cup and winning it again. I really am winning it. All right, going to the Eastern Conference, we have Buffalo versus Boston.
Should I pick logical or should I pick out of spite?
Spite.
Fine, I'll go with Buffalo.
I'm going Buffalo too. Because again, this team has had an incredible resurgence this year, winning their division, having a top standing team this year. They're weirdly scary this year. And this is a team that has sucked for so long. And you got Tampa Bay versus Montreal. And everybody knows where I'm going. I'm going Montreal because I'm literally wearing that jersey right now.
I'm going to give the support to the Canadian team. So Canadians Perfect. It is.
Montreal. All right. Then we have Carolina versus Ottawa.
Oh, Carolina. I mean, as much as I want to support the Canadian team, I'm not going to be stupid on multiple games here. Let's go Carolina.
Yeah. It's got to be Carolina here because they're going to crush the Senators. I think the Senators might get a win in the series, but yeah. And then finally the battle of This is the Battle of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh versus Philly.
You know what? I'm going to go Philly.
You're going Philly? I'm going Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Perfect. We got our picks for the first round, and once we get to the second round, we'll make our predictions again because it's fun to make these quick snap predictions. Even because neither of us have any idea who's going to win any of these.
Well, and then let's just calculate who picked the most correct ones at the end of the season, just for the fun of it. So.
And I got it all written down too.
Beauty. Works for me.
New predictions
That's
contest.
Right. NHL playoff. That's where it's at. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So that's really cool. I love the fact that we got another one to go by, and love that we brought another great show here on Point of View. So in the meantime and in between time, Andre, let the people know what you got coming up and where they can find it.
X and Blue Sky at That Canada Guy, Instagram and Threads at That Canada Dude. You can find me over on Backbreaker Video where I do my show with a Pop Spot. And actually, this week we have an episode of Pop Spots Presents coming out because tomorrow night on Monday we are recording. Myself and AWS are recording with the man who travels the prairies, travels Canada, Big Moses Luke will be joining us on Pop Spots Presents. Nice. This man has had a hell of a long career, 20 plus years at this point. We're going to chat with him, talk all the things he does. We'll talk about his current team of the Toxic Juggernauts. He's rocking a new podcast out there. We're going to talk about everything to do with this man's career, talk about what he's done, what he's doing, what he's going to do. Pinkies up for Moses Luke, baby. Big support to him. And he's our boy. Me and AWS will both be wearing our Toxic Juggernaut shirt on that show. That show will be coming out later this week because we record it Monday night. I'll probably have it out Tuesday or Wednesday over on Backbreaker Video. Check it out. It's going to be a great time. And then this Thursday, check out Marble Talk, where I will quickly I will be guest starring with the host of the show, Peggy, and her regular co-host Ed. This is my second show. I'm not going to be doing a full show of this year, but just I'm busy with Clandestine Wrestling XLPW. Check this out. We're talking episode 6 of Daredevil Born Again, and I'll be back here next Sunday for more Point of View.
You bet. As for myself, Bobby Munson, you can catch me at all the socials down below on that ticker. Where you can find me, of course, coming up this Thursday night, it is Ring Respect Radio with Papa Smokes. We are going to be, I think that we have decided we're going to cover a new company that we haven't covered before out of Moncton, New Brunswick. So stay tuned for North Pro Wrestling, I believe is the name of the company for this Thursday night. Find out what we saw.
I know who they are.
Okay. Cool.
Giant Orion works for them. He used to wrestle out here.
Perfect.
Pretty sure Giant Orion works there because he works at all the maritime companies.
Yeah, he works for a lot of companies out east. Tons of them. We talk about him in Island Pro all the time. Awesome. But he is awesome. So we got that coming up for you on Thursday. We, of course, got more sports talk for you here, 11 a.m. Eastern time next Sunday on Point of View. You can catch myself, Bob Smokes, every Saturday on the YouTube channel for Prairie Pro Wrestling as your commentary team, where this coming Saturday, if all goes according to plan, and it will, we are going to release WrestleMania in its entirety for you on our YouTube channel. So you're going to be able to take it in all 3 matches that took place at WrestleMania this weekend. So make sure you tune into that. And make sure you tune into all the great shows here on OLE Podcasts across the board from all the great content creators. Follow us on all social media and check us out on YouTube and Twitch, where we're partnered on both channels. YouTube, where you can give a super chat, super stickers. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Give it a thumbs up. Click the notification bell. Leave a comment. And if you're watching on replay, about 24 hours after this has gone live, you're watching on mobile, slide over to the side. You got some hype points to give away. You got 3 hype points per week. Hype us up, bring the show up, and let more people know about it so we can have fun with more sports fans here every single Sunday on the show. But that's going to be it for us this week. We will catch you next Sunday. Take care.